All right, bro.
What's up, dude?
How's it going, buddy?
Good, man. Just a couple of bald guys talking about workout stuff. Dude, people are gonna think we're brothers. Look at us.
Oh, man. You're way handsomer, don't worry.
I don't think so. I also don't have a cool backdrop. I got karate belts in my backdrop.
Hey, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's sick.
SwoleTown's under construction, so I have to put some flags over the wall.
I am one of the few people that have gotten the opportunity to work out there.
Right, man. It's a pretty select group.
You know,
Invite only.
Yeah, I've been there.
Hey, so all you guys that are joining, if you guys have workout questions, fitness, strength and conditioning, diet, anything, you guys can just post them here in the comments, and we'll address each one as you guys post them up. Otherwise, we're going to talk over some stuff that we talked about earlier. So we talked first about training styles and high versus low volume. So did you want to talk about how you approach that, how you view that training?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's the hot topic this year. I mean every year it seems like there's a different hot topic in fitness, right? So
yep.
You know, whether it's low carb or keto or squat depth, whatever it is, deadlifts or no deadlifts. This year it seems like it was like Mike Menser rose from the grave and made some kind of comeback, and for whatever reason that got popular. So I guess like it would be important to define high volume and low volume, because I think that's pretty subjective, you know.
100%.
Yeah, like one person's high volume is another person's low. My opinion is, I think we've talked about this before, is that they can both work.
Yep.
So it depends on where you are in your training, what your goals are, like what season you're in, if you're cutting or bulking, you know, your calorie intake, your cardio, your age, if you're on hormones, all sorts of stuff. My approach is like, well, my approach varies client to client, right? Like I'm sure yours does.
100%. Yep.
So my approach that I've been using is a blend. So I believe that there is something to be said for volume, but I also believe there's something to be said for training to failure. And it seems like both of these camps are so extreme and dogmatic that they say high volume works and low volume doesn't work, or high intensity doesn't work. And the other camp says high intensity works and high volume doesn't work. And it's obvious that both of them are wrong. You know, it's like the vegan versus the carnivore. Like they're both wrong.
People are dogmatic about everything.
Yeah.
Politics, nutrition, training. You have to belong to one camp or the other. If you're a serious coach, you know that the truth is somewhere in the middle. So
yeah.
Neither of those polar extremes are true.
Well, yeah, and the proof is in the pudding, right? So there are people who have made massive gains doing a traditional high volume kind of training and never go to failure. And I know people that have made massive gains that are all high intensity. Like I know guys that are like to the book Mike Menser high intensity. Like I'm training, like one set to failure once every 2 weeks or something like that. And these people argue back and forth about what training works and what doesn't. And the reality is like they both can work. And like you said, the answer lies in the middle for most people. So for me, the approach I've been taking lately is a blend. So what I've been doing throughout this cut that yielded really good results, and I'll talk about that soon.
Amazing results.
Yeah, better than I even thought. So, and I'm going to kind of turn this into this training style into like maybe like an ebook of sorts, or just talk about it more. And it's nothing new. I didn't invent it. It's just that I've sort of taken a couple things and blended them together. So I would describe the way that I've been training as moderate volume. I guess you could say high intensity because there's a high intensity set in there, and then like a average frequency. So I've been training every muscle group once a week except for arms, because everyone wants big arms. I've been doing arms twice a week, but so I'll just cut to the chase. So I'll do typically 2 sets of 8 to an RP 8 of an isolation movement. These are all isolation exercises. So because I've been cutting and because I've been kind of getting old and transitioning to like not caring about my squat or deadlift
That's a whole other topic we could talk about.
And we will, because you and I met through Tom Haviland's page when we were all about strongman.
Yep.
So I'll do 2 sets of 8 to an RP 8, and then I'll increase the weight by like 5%, maybe 8%, and do 1 set to failure. And the real key to this is technique. It's form. So everything is extremely strict, and because you have to beat the logbook each week. So
Yes.
what I'm looking for on that top set, is between 6 and 9 reps. And once I hit 9 reps, I increase the weight by 5 pounds, and then theoretically I'm back at 6 the next week, like the next training session that I do that exercise. But it has to be done with perfect form, because if I got 8 reps last week, but I got 9 this week, but I was swinging the weight or something, did I really get stronger, right? So
the two important things you said is, one, keep a damn logbook. For you guys that are watching, if you're training without a logbook, you're just kind of throwing darts in the dark, because you're not able to demonstrate any progress week over week. You should be able to look and be like, yes, I got stronger this week. Last week I did this 200 pounds for 8. This week I got 205 for 8. So you need to be able to see the numbers somehow, whether it's an app or a logbook. And 2, you said doing all your reps the same way, which is really important, and people I think don't understand that. If you did 8 reps this week and then next week you do 12, but you're swinging the weight around, you didn't actually do 12. You just invented a new exercise, pretty much. Like you're doing swing curls or something.
And maybe cheating has its place.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In some training styles, but when you're trying to measure your progress objectively, you have to do it in a controlled environment, right? It's like any science experiment ever. You have to control the variables, and one of those variables is your form. And like you said, the logbook is extremely important, because otherwise it's like your progress is so nebulous, right? It's like, I don't know if I got better or not, because like, I went a little bit heavier this week. Or if you're always training with RPEs, then it's way too subjective, because then it's like, this week's RP8 is 35 pounds. Next week I was better hydrated, my RP8 was 45 pounds, and then it becomes impossible to like track if you got better or not, because like you're better or worse week to week. So so I do a couple sets that are subjective, RP8, 2 sets of 8, and then the final set is like the one that counts. That's the one where it's all out, 3-second eccentrics, completely to failure.
Yep.
And it's
high intensity style.
High intensity style all the way to failure. And then the little like kind of trick, I guess, that I have, because you can only progress so fast, right? So like, especially stuff like curls. So like if I'm doing dumbbell curls and I did 45 pounds for 8 reps last week, and this week I'm trying to do 9, I mean, asking yourself to do an extra rep of a bicep curl is a lot. So my strategy is, if I don't make that rep, I do a rest pause set. So if my target's 9 and I only get 8, then I rest. Yeah, I'll rest for 20 seconds, do as many as I can, which is usually like 1. Rest for 20 seconds, do another one, which is 0 or 1. And then hopefully next week I'm able to hit the target rep. And then if that doesn't work, then I switch that exercise to being 3 sets of 8 RP8 across. And then maybe just switch the exercise. Maybe it's just time for a new lift.
That philosophy is really solid. So you're saying like you're first going to keep it simple. You're going to shoot for that 9th rep. If you can't get it, then you'll start delving into this more advanced stuff like a rest pause when you actually need it. Versus people like to throw these advanced things in all the time just because they're cool. And you need to use the advanced shit when it's necessary, not just to do it.
Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Simple, stupid. And when you need that advanced stuff, then you plug it in and it's there for you. And then you can back off of it again.
Yeah, and it's a tool. And that's a problem I think that a lot of coaches run into with their clients, is clients want novelty, and they want to do stuff that's new and sexy and exciting each week, when what really works is doing the same shit week after week until it doesn't work, and then making the most minor change possible to move the needle forward. And it's the concept of it's sort of like this concept of taking the lowest dose of medicine that you need to achieve the result, and not more.
Exactly. I think when people come to me for training, sometimes they're surprised at that too. It's like they did 3 sets of 8 last week, and now I'm telling you to 3 sets of 9. And then it's like, that's it, man. Like, that's the only change you need right now. If
they're
you
like,
do
damn
that,
it, why did I pay you? Why did I pay you? I could have just done that.
You could have, but you weren't doing it, were you?
Well, nope. It's that, and there's a lot of nuance to it. Like, it looks simple on the surface, but obviously there's a lot that goes into it. Like with my clients, I have this whole tracker sheet where they fill in like their steps and their sleep and their nutrition and their hydration. And so when people start running into roadblocks, I try to put all those puzzle pieces together and figure out what's going on. And I think that's really the hard part with people with their training is they might know like what program to do, but they aren't able to apply enough attention to detail. Yeah, and to figure out like why they're stalling, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of where we come in. Is it's like, you know, I'm going to kind of keep track of all this stuff, and or you have all this knowledge under your belt, and you've seen every problem because you've coached a lot of people.
Yep.
So when a client has a problem, instead of them spending 3 hours on the internet trying to figure out how to fix it, you already know how to fix it. You have that tool on your belt already.
Yep.
And that's really what a coach does. Like most coaches don't have some groundbreaking secret. It's just the attention to detail and the experience, and then the kind of bird's eye view of where you are. Like if you're in a corn maze and you don't know to go left or right, and I can see where the exit is, I'm going to tell you to go left.
That's one of the hard truths that I learned. Like I went out and sought out some really good coaches like Josh Bryant. I sought out mentoring from him, and I had a hard time accepting from him when I would ask him like, what are these secrets? Like, how do you approach this and that? And he's like, there's no secret. Like, It's not complicated. The complications are in the little nuances sometimes, like you said, but like the approach is not some like, you don't need to be a sorcerer to like program someone to be serious. So,
yeah. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, right? It's just knowing when to apply what tool.
Yes.
I think is what it comes down to.
And those little details are actually huge, like over the long run. So
yeah. and that's exactly it. Is like, you know, most people aren't paying attention to those small details because they seem so minor, but a lot of the time, those small details are what makes or breaks the program.
Absolutely. You guys, a lot of new people joined, so if you guys have questions, man, just throw them in and we'll answer your questions in order. Otherwise, we're just going to stick to what we're talking about. I wanted to move on to TRT if you want to talk about that.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are interested in that.
Yeah, that is I mean, obviously a huge can of worms. I've recently been going on Reddit and going on their TRT subreddit forum, which I hate that website because I mean, the main page of Reddit is like a cesspool. But the TRT page is full of people with these, they're posting questions related to what their doctors tell them, what their doctors prescribe them. And it's so many times I see this stuff. It's like stories that I've seen a million times. It's like, oh, my test level was like 340 and my doctor says I'm good to go, but I feel like shit. What do I do? Or, oh, my doctor prescribed me 25 milligrams of testosterone a week and I still don't feel good, or just crazy stuff. And it's absolutely wild what doctors are doing to people. And I know how bad it is personally because, you know, not to get too personal, but when I got back from Afghanistan in 2010, I was feeling really shitty, just run down and tired all the time. I worked out more than anybody in my unit, ate cleaner than anybody in my unit, but had the worst PT performance of anybody in my unit. And it was so frustrating. So somehow I stumbled upon this idea that like maybe my testosterone was low. So, and this is 20 years old. I was 20 years old, dude. Like I was going to turn 21 in a couple months. So I went to the doctor. They sent me to an endocrinologist who is endocrinology is hormone doctors, the study of hormones, that study the endocrine system. So you're like, oh, this is a specialist. They're an expert. And I'm sure you already know where this is going. So she did blood work on me. My testosterone came back at like 350. So she goes, oh, yeah, you're a little low. So we're going to supplement your testosterone level with a low dose of androgel. And me just being 20-year-old Corporal Hill was like, oh, okay, sounds good. So I start rubbing this androgel on my skin every day, a low dose. And she's like, yeah, the idea is like, you're at 350. So we'll give you the equivalent of like 200 and you'll be at like, you know, what's 350 plus 2? 550. And so, okay, cool. That makes total sense to me. So I start doing it. Yeah. So I feel really good for like 2 weeks. And then the third week, I felt worse than where I started. So I go back to the doctor, and you know why. So I go back to the doctor. She tests my blood work again, and it's like 270. And that's when I was like, what the fuck is going on? So that's when I went on T-Nation, the T-Nation forums. There was this guy on there that was talking about testosterone therapy, and he was like the self-proclaimed guru of TRT, and everybody loved him. And I was reading his posts, and then I would cross-reference everything he said with like stuff that I would Google. And I learned the basics, which was like day one endocrinology, which is like if you especially with sex hormones, if you apply an exogenous hormone, your body will downregulate its production of the hormone that it makes with, on its own.
Every gym bro knows that.
Day one,
He's
like day
yeah.
one endocrinology, like you don't have to have a degree to know that. So I found out like what the ideal protocol was at the time, which was like 100 milligrams of test a week, split into 2 doses, 250 units of HCG 3 times a week, and anastrozole if you need it. And then I went to an anti-aging doctor, like a private practice, and she echoed exactly what I had read online. And it's like, okay, this lady knows what's up. She put me on that protocol, and that's basically what I was on for the last 12 years with minor adjustments. Like, I dose differently now and stuff like that.
I didn't realize you were on for so long. That's great.
Yeah, since I've been 20. And I'll never come off of it, dude. It's funny because people are always like, oh, is it worth it? And I always say, like, look, try to increase your testosterone level naturally on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Do everything you can, cut all the lifestyle factors out, just like anything else, right? Like before you go on a medicine, you should make sure that your lifestyle is not actually the problem. And then if it's still low, then consider getting on, because it is a big commitment.
It is, definitely. I think people get on or start doing that without realizing like it's a whole lifestyle change. And if you don't change your lifestyle, then the TRT might not be a good idea for you. You gotta get your blood work done. Your diet needs to be on point. Like you're not just gonna get these magic results from TRT at all.
And you have to have the wherewithal and discipline to make sure you're doing your injections
Mm-hmm.
or whatever method you're using. I've switched from doing twice a week injections to daily now, which made a huge difference in my blood work and side effects, and that's what I recommend to everybody now.
I'm not dedicated enough to do that.
But if you're the kind of person that's like gonna miss a shot because you just like didn't feel like doing it or something, you're messing with your hormones, and that's really bad for you. And then you're gonna get all the side effects.
Yep. I had similar to you, but I was in my later 30s. I think I was 37 or 38. And it was obvious, man. Like for a couple of years, I felt that decline, just and always testosterone related, just fatigued, everything. When I went, I was low 3s, and I immediately got on it, like because I already knew going in there what they were going to tell me, and it was kind of life changing for me, man. Like everything from performance in the gym, my ability to like hold on to muscle mass, like everything, like sexual function, everything was improved by TRT tenfold, and that's just on a low dose. So I think for some dudes, like you said, you should try naturally to fix it, because it could be a lot of things. Your sleep could be fucked up, your diet could suck, all that stuff could be true. But if you can't fix it naturally, going on TRT is life changing. I think, in my opinion.
It really is. It really is. And I already had the diet and training down. Like I was already at this point where I felt like I knew a lot about that stuff. So when I got on, and I went to the gym, I had immediate insane results. I'm talking like 20 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks. It's out of control. I remember the first day I noticed that it was like, hitting me. I went through my entire training session that I usually do. And then I was like, I feel like I could just do that again. Like I could just do that whole workout again. And I did. I did the entire workout again. And I was like, I'm just going to leave the gym now because I don't want to hurt myself, but I still feel really good.
See, Alexis asked the question. She said, do you have to continue until your 70s and 80s? And you're using the word have to. The answer is no. You don't have to. You're expected to when you start TRT. The idea is to stay on it for good. If you go on TRT for several years and come off, you're going to have a long lag time. Your body's going to stop producing testosterone. So you don't want to go into it with the intention of coming off of it. So you don't have to stay on it. You can come off and recuperate, but you're just going to go back to your old low levels anyway. So usually you guys get on TRT, they're probably not going to want to come off of TRT because you're going to feel better.
Yeah, I always tell people I'd sooner miss a mortgage payment than getting my tests.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and exactly. It's supposed to be a lifelong treatment because you're correcting a deficiency that's not going to correct itself. And then one of the benefits is like now when I'm 50 or 60, I will have the same testosterone level that I did in my 20s. There is an argument that could be made that there is like a geroprotective mechanism to testosterone lowering as you get older. Like, maybe you could make that argument, but you could also make the argument that it's just because aging happens and it's natural doesn't mean it's good, because everyone wants to have a longer health span or lifespan. So just like if you're in your 60s and your doctor says you have osteoporosis and you need to consume more calcium, you're not going to say, oh, well, it's normal to have osteoporosis in your 60s, so I'm not going to take calcium. That would be stupid, right? So same thing, like, as long as you stay on top of your blood work and your health markers and your you know, your cholesterol's good, your resting heart rate's good, your blood pressure's good. It's like, there's no reason to come off. Now, there are anecdotes of people that have been on testosterone therapy for a number of years who come off of testosterone therapy and their level sort of resets to a higher baseline.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Not everybody. And I think the idea is that your, you know, hypothalamic pituitary axis upregulates to meet the demand. Obviously, that's going to depend a lot on what caused your low T in the first place. So if you have secondary or especially primary hypogonadism, where, you know, there's organ damage or glandular damage, that's not going to happen because the gland is still going to be damaged. So, and I don't know, like, I don't think there's any studies on that. I think I've just seen people say that, oh, I took Clomid and got off of TRT, and now my levels are 800 all the time. And so, you know, maybe that's the case, but I don't want to take that risk. I've thought about it. People have said, you know, people have suggested, and I've considered it. But it's so nice knowing that my levels are the same all the time that I feel like I would have like anxiety, because I'd be like week to week, and I'm like, oh, I hope my testosterone's not in the tank this week, and my workouts are going to suck, and I'm going to lose muscle this week, and then I have to stay on top. And then here's the other thing: I kind of, you know, I mean, I'm sure you agree with me that our environment in this world is very toxic. So I am kind of the mindset that being on TRT and living on planet Earth in the West is similar to living on the moon, in that the TRT is like my oxygen tank. And if I take my oxygen tank off and now I'm exposed to all these endocrine disruptors, now I have to deal with that. And I have to make sure my water's filtered the right way, make sure I'm not eating soy, make sure I'm getting the right amount of sunlight, make sure I'm doing this, make sure I'm doing that. Or I could just like take my shot every week. And I still want to do all the healthy stuff, like, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot less stressful when I know that, okay, like, at least my physique is going to be really good no matter what.
Yeah. If you tried naturally to boost your testosterone and you can't, it probably has at least something to do with those environmental factors that have kind of fucked you.
Yeah,
there's nothing you're going to be able to do about that, probably. So
yeah, and I think a lot of the damage happens in puberty. So I don't know like what the statistics are, but there are a lot of men getting gynecomastia in their teenage years. There are a ton of men in their 20s that have low testosterone, and it's so bad now that I don't know what I think it's like the American Society of Endocrinology or something lowered the reference range for normal testosterone to meet the population's averages.
It's normal or something.
Right, it would be like changing the definition of obesity, because everybody's obese, so now nobody's obese. And so that's what they did with testosterone. So now if you go to the doctor, and I've had clients go get their blood work done, and they have like a 600 testosterone, and their endocrinologist is like, oh my God, your testosterone's crazy high. And it's 600.
And it's just like what normal was like 50 years ago.
It's like what normal was 50 years ago for like a middle-aged man. Yeah. And these guys are like in their 20s. It's just, it's nuts.
Hey, you guys that are in here, you can kick topics out if you want. We'll talk about whatever you guys want. So, or you can just listen to us rant about stuff that we like.
Nobody wants to talk to us. Maybe they just like the monologue.
Yeah, maybe. You can pick another topic if you want, or I'll just move on our list.
So we talk about TRT. Yeah, whatever you want to talk about, man. It's up to you. I'm an open book.
So a lot of my clients are more beginner. They're looking for weight loss and diet strategies and stuff. So we could talk about how you approach diet, nutrition for someone maybe more in the beginner level, getting into the gym, and their goal. Or how would you approach someone like they're a beginner lifter and they're not super experienced in the gym and they're pretty overweight, like maybe 300 pounds, 270, 300.
Yep.
What's your main
like your
priority?
your typical weight loss client?
Yeah, so I have a lot of clients in this situation. Probably some of the people in the chat right now.
I mean, you're definitely the expert on that. A lot of the clients that come to me are guys who are like already somewhat in shape, but my approach for newer athletes is always movement quality and repetition over load, because obviously ingraining proper motor patterns over time is going to be more beneficial for these people. So they do a lot more reps at a lot lower weight. One, because they're not neurologically efficient enough to really do heavy weights. Right. So where it won't matter, like their 1 rep max and their 10 rep max will be within 5 pounds of each other. So there's no reason. And then the other one, is that the more practice they can get, then a year down the road, when they are ready for those heavy weights, their technique will be much better, and they don't have to deal with, breaking themselves.
Totally agree with
That's kind of my approach.
Yeah, with those guys, my first priority is always weight loss. Like, I want to get them leaner. I'm not super worried about like gym performance, and I'm usually prioritizing diet, which I think is hard for people to accept sometimes. Like, your main battleground right now is diet and just movement. Like, I need you to move more, build your work capacity with the basic stuff like cardio, basic lifting, and just really gradually build on that as we lose weight. So
it's that concept of lowest effective dose, because you're only going to lose weight so fast, or you're only going to build muscle so fast. So there would be no reason to go, quote, full bore and go on a 6-day-week lifting program and 6-day-week cardio program and this insane diet and make all these lifestyle changes at once. Not only because it's probably not going to yield more results, but also because it's a compliance issue. Because now you're flipping someone's entire life upside down on you, and they're making all these massive habit changes all at once. And now you run into the problem of like, how long is this person going to be able to sustain this, as opposed to like what you're doing, where it's like, if I just change 1 or 2 habits at a time, once I ingrain this habit and it's second nature to you, then we can add another one.
I usually try that, but like you said, you treat every person different, and some people do thrive on that more intense approach. So I'll allow it within certain limits, like a protein sparing fast type like start to a diet if I really believe that they'll stick to it. So we can get that momentum and drop 20 or 30 pounds, and then we'll have to pump the brakes a little bit. So the hard part is pumping the brakes, I think.
That can be really good though. So that's a really good like motivation boost to people when you can get them like if you can get them on like a super low carb or something, or a fast like an IF, and have them lose a ton of weight at the start, and they start seeing the scale go down, then they get really excited, then they're more likely to stick to it. And so you're right, like the biggest thing with new guys that are, or girls that are not used to training and not used to living that kind of lifestyle, is compliance. And the best way to do it is to get them enjoying it, because, and I've talked about this before, everyone's all about like, this motivation over, or discipline over motivation thing, because of like Jocko Willink and David Goggins. And it's true to an extent, but what I always say is like, there is nobody who is successful in fitness that doesn't enjoy doing it. And if you enjoy doing it, it's going to be so much easier. So yes, discipline and all that, like on those days where you don't want to do it, but you really have to learn to love it. And I get to the point, it's almost like masochism. Like when I am dieting and I get those hunger pangs, I like get this weird, sick satisfaction.
I know exactly what you mean. And that includes longer term fasting too, like on the second or third day of a fast. There is some kind of very deep, like primitive satisfaction that you're doing that.
Yeah, you're like it hurts so good, like because it's almost like a
conquering of the self type feeling, like mastering my own desire, like deepest desires. Hunger is definitely one.
Yeah, and think about all the aspects of life that bleeds into. If you know that you are completely in control of that stuff, like everything else is going to be much easier to control in your life. And then, things in your job, things in your relationships, everything's going to feel much more in control, and you're going to have so much more confidence.
Damn, Savage is 113-hour fast, bro. You're all right.
That's insane.
Yeah, I haven't made it that far.
Yeah, that's like full hypoglycemia. He's like drooling on the phone, like trying to.
Savage is one of my clients. He actually dropped. Maybe you can put in the comments how much weight you lost the first time around. He's lost 100 pounds in the past I don't know, it was like a 6 to 8 month period. He came back, lost 50 pounds in 6 weeks, I think. So he's one of the hardcore guys that likes that approach.
Holy shit.
He says, I'm alive. I gotta check on him to make sure he's alive.
That's awesome. I love it. When I get a person like that just full bore going, I get
some for sure.
I get so excited. And usually it is the weight loss guys. Usually
follow some of your clients. Some of your clients are pretty hardcore, bro.
They are. But usually it is. It's like the guys who are just like, you know what, like the guys who just like make this decision where they're like, I'm now going to take control of my life. And you can tell when they're talking about it, if they're serious.
I can tell the first time we talk.
Yeah, I can tell on the consultation call, like this guy's going to make it. He's got like the right stuff, and it's beautiful to see because it's beautiful to see, because inevitably they're like, what coincides with them losing weight is like their job is better, their relationship with their wife and kids is better, like everything in their life improves. And that's really what I, not to sound like cheesy or something, but I derive a lot of fulfillment in training out of that stuff. It's not so much people hitting PRs in the gym, like that stuff is all great. But when somebody tells me like, I just like crushed an interview for a new job, and I'm feeling the best I've ever felt, and I'm getting up every morning and doing my cardio and going to bed on time, and like just when somebody's life is just on that fast track and just every metric is just going up like this, that's when I'm like, dude, that's when I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing.
Hell yeah, that's the main reason for waking up in the morning and wanting to coach, bro.
Yeah.
They say, what is it? Good coaches coach people how to lift weights, and great coaches coach people. Like if you're changing people's lives, like you're on top of the game right there.
Yeah, because very few of our clients are competitive athletes. Most of these people are what we would call lifestyle clients. They're people who they want to make their life better, and they do it, through various means. And it depends on what their goals are. But are most of your clients like physique oriented?
I have a really wide variety of clients right now, man. I have like female physique clients. I have a lot of weight loss clients. So like some of them are physique, like they express the goal of eventually having like the yoked physique. But no, I wouldn't say like primarily physique. It's pretty like I still have some tactical athletes and stuff that are on the roster, but definitely leaning more towards physique these days. Yeah. Yeah,
mine's kind of a good blend too. And my philosophy has always sort of been like, I want my guys to be a blend of a little bit of everything, but tilting toward whatever their specific goal is.
Yeah, so we bring our own style in, but you lean towards what they want a little bit, but you bring your own package into the deal. Yep.
Yeah, because you really can move the needle forward on all of it at once if you toe the line correctly.
Yep. Unless they're super advanced, I absolutely think you can.
Yeah.
I think that's where we share a commonality. Like we've talked about this before. Our approach is kind of like concurrent. Like we're training guys to bring multiple things up together, like kind of classic tactical athlete.
Yep. Yeah, and I would say that most people thrive training that way because they end up looking better, and so their daily life is better. Because what I always say is like, people talk about functional fitness, and you're usually referring to like doing kipping pull-ups or deadlifts or something. But what's most functional in 21st century America is looking and appearing and acting a certain way that will yield a good social result. Because I'm not ever going to go to a job interview and they're going to ask me how much I deadlift. Actually, that does happen, right? Like if you're really big. But they don't care about how much you deadlift. It's more of like a compliment. And they're saying it because you look a certain way. And looking that certain way will make people act a certain way around you. And it just opens up doors. It creates opportunities. And if people can see that you have a good physique, they're like, okay, this person, even if it's subconscious, they're like, this
automatic assumption about you.
Yeah. They're like, this person is motivated. They've got their shit together. Like, they're not a slob. They're definitely not a lazy person. And so people are going to treat you differently than they would treat somebody that looks like they don't take care of themselves. And rightfully so. I mean, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but like, look, if you look like you can't even take care of yourself, how can I expect you to take care of my business or whatever it is? Or like, if you're on a date or something, how can I expect you to take care of like the safety of our family or something like that? So,
It matters, man. It definitely matters. You had to mention habit building as a topic. Did you want to talk about that or something else? Because I like that topic a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that. So, I think the main idea that I had was what we were saying about like changing like a little bit of stuff at once. But for me, habit building is easy because I really enjoy a regimented lifestyle. And I have some clients that aren't that way. They're more of like the creative brain type. And so it can be tough to relate. But for me, I know you're the same way. I get genuinely upset if my routine is like disrupted in any way. Because I do the same thing every day. I get up at 5:30. I go on a 30-minute walk and listen to like some podcast. I eat breakfast, and it's the same thing every day. I take my pre-workout. I go to the gym. Like my day is like, it's a schedule. Like it's almost like pathological how structured my day is.
There's a lot of power in that structure, though. Like that's how you push forward, I think.
Yeah.
Like, really get things accomplished. Like
Yeah.
ultimately, you can't be all over the place and expect results. You have to have some kind of a
Mm-hmm.
structure. So the question, I guess, is how do if someone's completely unstructured, like what are some ways that they can start to build that in? So I know you said like don't try to do everything at once. Maybe build one new habit, establish it, and then work on another one.
Yeah, I think anchoring is a big thing. So with somebody who's getting into fitness, anchor your day on the gym time. So make your gym time a non-negotiable priority and have that be the anchor of your day. So no matter what happens in your day, you got to the gym. And a lot of the times that looks like training in the morning because people have unpredictable jobs. Or it's anchoring yourself on getting up and doing a morning cardio or whatever it is. But I think anchoring your day is the phrase that I usually use, and it's a very important way to start building a regimented lifestyle. Get up and go on a walk, get up and eat the same thing, go to the gym at the same time, and following a training program where you're filling out a log. That's another way to anchor your day, anchor your life. It's just like you wouldn't go to bed without brushing your teeth. I wouldn't go to through the day without doing my training that's programmed or something.
I also think it frees up a lot of mental energy when you don't have to think about, like, if you just wake up and you already know what you're eating and you're going to the gym, like you don't have to like think about it.
Yes.
You don't have to try to figure shit out. It's like, this is what I do every
Absolutely.
day. I have that mental energy to put elsewhere, to my family or to my job, whatever, your business. So for me, that's the biggest benefit of having a routine. Like, I already know what I'm eating tomorrow morning. It's already in the refrigerator. I know what time I'm working out. Like, everything's pretty much already for tomorrow. I have it all squared away.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I don't have to figure that shit out. I even know what I'm wearing to work. It's already put aside. So it's like,
Yes.
for me, that's super important because I'm busy as hell. I have kids, I have a family, I have a full-time job, I have a business. So,
you're right. It frees up mental energy, and there's a concept of what's called decision fatigue, where you get a mental energy fatigue from having to make too many decisions throughout the day, and it creates brain fog. And so
that when I have to do that, I am mentally fatigued at the end of the day.
It's also because you and I are like Neanderthals.
Actually, when I did my 23andMe, it said I have an abnormally high amount of Neanderthal DNA.
do you have 8 wisdom teeth? You're like not fully evolved, like you have a Jay Leno jaw and you got extra wisdom teeth.
My wife was like, "Yeah, it's accurate."
She's like, "That makes sense." She's like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go in the backyard and sharpen my forehead on a rock. I'm gonna go grind rocks in my teeth."
All right, I think maybe we can cut it here. We can do this again for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do it.
We can save this video, right? Like I can post this.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna save it and I'll kick it to you.
Okay. Yeah, maybe do like the collaboration thing, or I don't know how it works, but whatever you gotta do.
If anyone has any last minute questions, shoot them. Otherwise, we're gonna cut this off now.
Yeah, but probably next week or something like that, we can get together and do it again.
And if you guys have any questions, man, kick me or Randy a DM. We can talk about whatever you guys want. So just let us know.
Cool. All right.
Thanks for showing up, bro.